everybody. So I finally am adding some content here. I wanted to do something called Doctor's Advice. It's a little kind of advice corner. It's more for newer players. I did some streams earlier about it, but I'm just going to jump right into it. So first feature today is going to be aim assist and sniping. And I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of getting a little more confident with your snipes, kind of breaking into using a sniper rifle if it's your first time, and talking a little bit about the theory of aim assist. It has been talked about before and has been outlined, but I think to kind of I just kind of want to answer a couple of loose questions. So first things first, breaking into a sniper rifle. There's a great video out there by MTash that kind of goes over the basics. Sniping is not something you're gonna pick up overnight. You're not gonna go home and get an amazing roll on a 1K stare and just sit down with short gaze and wreck everybody. It's not gonna happen. And if it is happening, then you're in a lobby of people who've never played before. But the truth is, you're gonna really have to sit down and, for lack of a better word, you're gonna have to practice. And don't just go. One thing I've noticed is don't just go with the metascopes. Every gun in Bungie's Destiny world has a different feeling to it, and they've worked really hard for them to all feel and behave differently. So my suggestion would be, get a couple different snipers and sit down with them with a bunch of different scopes and just figure out what fits your playstyle, what feels the most comfortable. I feel like I play with what I'm calling a low-key meta these days, which is Taxis. There's all the people that say, oh, play with ambush, play with short gaze. I have a 1K stare with short gaze, and it was really good, but I was like, let me sit down with it and try out Taxis. And I was flipping through guns. I was like, man, this is just so natural. This feels so, easy for me to play with. And granted, it has a lot of aim assist. It's still a very grippy scope. In my opinion, it's just as easy, if not easier, to use than short gaze. But it works for me, and that's kind of the big key. Is go in there and find the scope that works for you. Find the rifle that works for you. Talking to that, there's two major archetypes. There's your high impact, low rate of fire snipers, and your low impact, high rate of fire snipers. Again, there's a bunch from different groups. Sit down with them and figure out what feels the best for you. There is no, best answer. I happen to be a high impact guy. I like knowing that I can completely clean up if I'm logging into a snipe and I don't quite get the headshot, or I see somebody that's primed that's been giving us trouble. That body shot's all I need. For some people, that's not really acceptable. It's not really. They'd rather play, make the snipe. If they miss the snipe, and clean up with a primary. I have friends that do that. It's totally up to your style of play. I would definitely go in, feel out what works with your play style. What's the most comfortable for you? And that's most of the basics of sniping. When you do finally figure out what kind of snipers you want, the next big kicker I'm going to throw out there, and this is a big step for some people who are trying to, put up those great stat numbers, and not so much for the newer players. Don't be afraid of ruining your KD. After a while, everything balances out. Everything will settle into place. But when you're going out there to first start sniping, I started out in PvE. It's a lot easier, it's a lot more predictable, but it gets you an idea of how the sniper behaves. It gets you an idea of where's the end of your sniper versus where are you scoping in. It allows you to get used to where you're looking for a head. And don't be afraid. Sit down PvE first, get those snipes out. Once you're feeling a little more comfortable, go into Crucible, keep your calm, don't worry about, people handing it to you. Just sit there, and if you have to be that guy camping in the back of the map, do it. Classic 6v6 of the combined arms. It's a great place to practice. Nobody's going to get mad at you for camping out in the back of the map. So I would definitely take that to heart. Give that a shot. Finally, I'll start moving on to kind of the next big topic. So, you just told me, hey, go out there, pick a scope that works for me. Don't worry about aim assist, don't worry about stats, don't worry about any of that stuff. Now, getting on to aim assist. What is aim assist? First off, why does aim assist exist? In any player versus player, and this took me a really long time to get my head around and not get frustrated at, but it's true, and you have to accept it. Any player versus player game, there's going to be some inherent lag. It's not lag switching, it's not cheating, it's not phasing, it's just the fact that connections differ between people. That's totally normal. So, there has to be some way to account for, I see you on my screen at time A, you're actually moving to point C at time B. No sweat. To kind of account for slight variations in where someone is, they have a hitbox, which is kind of a range around their head and body where a shot will where if I fire it and they're within that zone on their screen, it will register a hit. Now, aim assist, in terms of boosting that, allows you to stay within that hitbox for fractions of a second longer. It's not magic, it's not pulling your gun away. But if you've ever been surrounded or been trying to snipe one guy and another guy walks in front of him and it feels like your gun is snapping toward him, it may seem like there's a magic hand drawing your gun in. What's really happening is that if your reticle falls over somebody's hitbox, it creates a dead zone, essentially like dropping down your look controls on your controller, so that you move slower through that hitbox. In other words, forcing you to stay there longer. If you pull the trigger while you're being dragged around, you will more than likely hit the guy and potentially score the headshot. Now, that being said, depending on your playstyle, aim assist might not be the best thing for you. You may not want to be dragged off a target. If you're like me, you're really neurotic and you want to stay on one guy. Look for your lower aim assist scopes. That being said, I'm going over this in kind of a quick way. MTash did a really good job of talking about it. I just figured I would throw out there, it's not magically putting you over somebody's head. It's not magically moving your gun. It's keeping you in the hitbox longer. And if somebody runs ahead in front of your main target, it's creating a dead zone on your controller. It's like, it's like dropping your look controls. You feel this, you can actually feel it, and you can actually see it if you drop to like a hand cannon. You have 5 guys coming at you. You'll actually feel that dead zone kick in. It's a neat effect. Alright guys, that's all I'm putting in for today. Last couple of bits here. Enjoy the video. You can see one last biggie is be confident with your snipes. In the beginning of this video, you can see where I have some clips where I'm doing a horrible job sniping. I was not confident. It took me a little while to get into a groove. I did. Finally, when I did, I was landing shots like it was nobody's business. Don't be afraid to be the guy that's missing all your snipes. Don't get frustrated. Go ahead and go in there. Actually, you know what? I can add one more bit in here with refrain to confidence. Gauging how powerful the other sniper is. There are going to be people that are really, really good. There are going to be people that are really, really bad. They're going to be just starting out. They're going to get lucky snipes on you. Know this. Human brains are really good at picking out patterns. If you peek over and another guy peeks over and you shoot the guy and then he shoots you and gets the headshot and you're like, I want to go back there and get that. So you go back and give it a shot again. He does the same thing. Realize it may not be that he's a better sniper. He just knows where you're going to be because he's been sitting there hard scoped in and his brain has already picked up where, or her brain, has already picked up where somebody's going to be. So, don't be afraid to break away and pick another position. Don't get angry. Don't get frustrated. It's not always a matter of, why is this guy better than me? Why am I worse than him? I should be a great sniper. Don't let that stuff get in your way. Just sit there and realize if you're scoped in on somebody, you'll feel it. You'll catch yourself starting to snap onto people after a while. And people will be thinking the same thing about you. So, human brain, very good at patterns. If you get double sniped, they're probably scoped in. Don't be afraid to break away. And you can use the amount of time it takes for somebody to scope you to know how long they've been scoping there and how good a sniper they are. If you move into the position right away and they move into the position right away and they get you the first time, you come back and the same thing happens again. They're probably pretty sharp sniper and you're going to know you can't take a whole lot of time with them. If you're going to aim in for a snipe, you're going to have to be on the top of your game. that be all. Enjoy the rest of the video. Take some looks at my better snipes, and please laugh at my worst ones, but please enjoy yourself. Take it easy. I'll see you guys in the next Doc's Corner. Peace.